Inspiration.com.
Why do we buy director's cuts? It's so that we can get a new vision of a movie that we enjoy. That is not the case for The Godfather Coda, The Death of Michael Corleone. What I have here is actually my Godfather collection, the Coppola restoration from a few years back. But as you can see, there's nothing on the back. So I figured, screw it, I'll just put Godfather Coda in here with the collection. Godfather 3 is a much maligned movie. The first two are classics. In fact, I would put The Godfather in my top 10 movies of all time. And really, The Godfather 2 on just about an equal playing field there. Because in some ways, I consider them one movie. If you've ever seen it, AMC and HBO both did this version of The Godfather 1 and 2 where they intercut the two movies. You know, they make it chronological. They took the prequel De Niro part of The Godfather 2, put that first, put then the entirety of the Godfather 1, and then the Al Pacino part of Godfather 2. And they made it one like 5-hour movie, maybe 6-hour movie. Including putting back in deleted scenes that sort of connected everything. A great experience to watch it if you ever can. I wish that it would come out on Blu-ray. I would absolutely buy that version of The Godfather, and probably it would be the only version I would watch. Godfather 3 stands out as an odd addition to that. You know, it's 15 years later that they make it, and a lot of things went wrong with this movie. Robert Duvall, who is sorely missed in it, and who actually, if he had come back as Tom Hagen, that would have informed the plot greatly. It would have been kind of Tom versus Michael Corleone. There was a money dispute. He didn't come back. Winona Ryder was supposed to play Al Pacino's daughter in it. Comes in on day one and then has to leave for health reasons. And Coppola, in a panic, which if you ever watch behind the scenes stuff, you see Coppola is a very panicky director. If you ever watch like the Apocalypse Now documentary Heart of Darkness, or the behind the scenes stuff of the Godfather movies, the sky is always falling for Coppola. And in a panic, he casts his daughter, Sophia, who was not an actress, puts her in the part of Mary Corleone, and critics ripped her apart. It is a legendary bad performance, and I'm not going to defend it here. It's not good. The Godfather Coda doesn't fix any of that. Normally a director's cut would be longer. This is actually a shorter movie. He reordered certain scenes, and he clipped certain scenes. And, you know, there was this critical consensus that came out when the Blu-ray was released in December. Oh, this is a much improved movie. I disagree entirely. The movie, at least the theatrical cut, it opens with these haunting images of the abandoned house in Lake Tahoe that the Corleones had in The Godfather 2. And it's sort of overrun and flooded, and, you know, it's very atmospheric, the way that the first two Godfather movies opened. Now, he took a movie that took a scene that comes 45 minutes into the movie, and he moves it to the front. Now, this does improve the flow of the movie as far as getting the plot going immediately. But it opens on just, it's the classic music, the title comes up, and, in the first movie, you get that shot of the Undertaker, just bathed in black, and, that first line, "I believe in America," and it's just sort of pulling back, and he's talking to somebody, and you don't know who it is, but there's this idea that he's talking to somebody very important, and then we see Brando. Godfather 2 opening in Sicily, giving us this little text of, it's 1901, and Don Corleone is just a boy, and his father has just been murdered, and it's setting up this sort of operatic giant story. Here it is a flat shot of a New York City building cutting into a scene that was never meant to be the opening scene, and it's all very boring as far as the composition goes. If it had been filmed to be the opening scene, it might have worked. It wasn't. And so, you're just sort of cutting to what is a random scene 45 minutes into the original version of the movie. The scenes that are clipped are so awkwardly done if you know the original movie. Scenes just sort of cut. There's a scene where it's, Pacino and Sofia Coppola, and they're talking on a rooftop garden. And Coppola now cuts into the middle of that conversation in a way that feels so like, whoa, what just happened? What are they, if you don't know the movie, my feeling would be, you'd be like, what are they talking about? You even feel it. It's like, there's no establishing shot. It's just, boom, you're in the conversation. You were here, and now you're here. And it's very jarring. There's another one where it's an admittedly awkward scene where Pacino tells his daughter that she can't see her first cousin romantically. Again, I don't know who thought that was a good idea for a romance. And in the original version, she says, "No." And then he sort of wags his finger at her, and she goes, "No, Dad," in a really awkward thing. And then she turns around and runs away. And it's really kind of an embarrassing moment as far as the performance goes. Now, he cuts now after the first "no." And this is where I feel like he missed an opportunity here. The very next scene is her kissing Andy Garcia as her cousin. If they had cut the "no," the first "no," if it had just been Michael saying, "You can't see your cousin anymore, it's too dangerous," and then you cut to just a shot of her facial reaction, as if maybe she's going to go along with it just to placate her father, and then cut to her kissing Andy Garcia, maybe that would have worked better. Here, it's just awkward because, again, you're cutting in the middle of a conversation. You get the feeling, even if you haven't seen the original movie, that there's more to that conversation that you're missing. This was a movie I wish I had not bought. I wish I had seen it. I made an assumption. I like Godfather 3. It's not a perfect movie. God knows it's not a good sequel. It's, if Godfather 1 and 2 would be in my top 10 of all-time movies, Godfather 3 wouldn't even make the top 100. It probably wouldn't make the top 200. But it's not a bad movie. It's a well-directed movie. It's a well-acted movie. It's more of a movie that suffers for what it could have been instead of what it is. This doesn't improve it. I've watched Godfather Coda once. It's probably the only time I ever will watch it. If I want to watch Godfather 3, I'm going to watch Godfather 3. I'd rather watch that. Now, as far as the movie itself goes, there's a lot to like about this movie. Andy Garcia is great as Vincent Corleone. Although somebody pointed something out when Godfather Coda came out that I'd never thought of. You know, Vincent is supposed to be the bastard son of Sonny, the kid that he had while he was having an affair with somebody, and Sonny dies before Vincent is even born, but Vincent idolizes him. Sonny had a son. He had a legitimate son in the original movie that could have grown up to be that character. Why invent a character? Especially since if you read the Godfather novel, it is impossible that Vincent would have been born. Now, the movie is a different entity from the novel. But why do it? Why go there? I mean, I guess there was something he thought symbolically that was important for Vincent to be a bastard. But to me, once somebody pointed that out, I went, oh, yeah. That would have been much cleaner and easier to do. It really is. It's a disappointing movie as far as Godfather movies go. It's a well-done movie aside from that. And there are movies like that where, you know, if you take it out of context, oh, it's a better movie than it would be. I will say, I do wish that they had done The Godfather 4. Even though Puzo died, Puzo did have an outline and even a script for half the movie, which would have concluded the story, would have been like the second movie, cutting back and forth in time, this time showing in the prequel part the rise of the Corleones, bring back De Niro as a slightly older Vito Corleone, you know, not quite, hasn't become Brando yet, but, you know, is a little older than he was in Godfather 2. And they apparently wanted to cast Leonardo DiCaprio as a young Sonny, which, that's good casting, actually. And then the sequel part would have been the destruction of the Corleone family. It would have been Vincent getting into the drug trade, becoming like a Pablo Escobar, and the ultimate destruction of the Corleones. This Coda, and I'm going to, a little spoiler here, the death of Michael Corleone, it cuts his death scene out of the movie. And really, again, another missed opportunity. The very, 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 very end of the movie is so embarrassingly done. It's Pacino in old man makeup, flashing forward, you know, and then, you know, in the original movie, it's just sort of a long shot, and he sort of doubles over and he dies. This, they start with the long shot instead of the close-up. And here's the thing, like, because they reverse it, in the original one, it starts with the close-up, and Pacino's wearing glasses, and he takes the glasses off. Here, you know, he's still got the glasses on. It's like he takes the glasses off, but in the next shot, he's got them back on. And if you'd wanted, symbolically, it's supposed to be, instead of the physical death of Michael Corleone, it's the spiritual death of Michael Corleone. If you wanted to do that, just cut, again, spoiler alert, at the end of the movie, Mary is shot. You know, an assassin who's trying to kill Michael kills Mary on the steps of this opera house. And there's this agonizing shot of Pacino just howling, just, you know, it's silent. You do hear him screaming in a moment, but it's just him. A great performance, maybe one of the best scenes of somebody in grief, because he's just so broken and beat and destroyed in that moment. And that's the scene. That's where you cut it. If you want to see the death of his soul, that's the moment. But instead, we cut to the old man makeup, and we get the embarrassing little Coda. It's a mess. 1 star for the Godfather Coda. Godfather 3, I'd give 3 stars. Again, meaning a good movie. Not a great movie, but a good movie. Godfather Coda is a waste of time. It's a complete waste of time. If you're a Godfather fan, it's not even worth it if you're a Godfather fan. It's not worth owning. It's not worth watching. It takes a movie, a mediocre movie, and it makes it a little bit more mediocre. 1 star. Stay away.
Other worlds.
Sort of gave myself the challenge of, okay,